Fire Beneath the Baobab. Chapter 1. The Whispering Grass. The dry season came late that year, and with it, an uneasy silence settled over the kingdom of Uzenge. The usual rustle of tall grass was quieter, the skies grayer, even the monkeys that screeched from the tall Iroko trees seemed more subdued. The spirits, the elders murmured, were watching. In the royal compound, a boy danced alone. Duma's body moved like water over stone. Every shift of his hip, every flick of his wrist was a tribute to the gods of rhythm. His feet traced sacred patterns etched into the packed earth, signs meant to call joy, peace, and protection. But today, Duma did not dance for ceremony. He danced to remember who he was beneath the robes they asked him to wear. He finished with a spin, landing softly as dust swirled around him. "You should have been born a bird," came a voice from the shadows, light as wind. Duma turned and saw Ero leaning against the archway, arms folded, skin glistening with sweat from weapons training. His broad shoulders cast long shadows, but his smile, that smile, was like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. "You watch too often," Duma said, wiping his brow. "And yet, I never tire." The two met in a quick embrace, one they knew could only linger behind stone walls or beneath moonlit trees. Ero smelled of iron and leather, but Duma found it comforting, like the scent of home. "You should be preparing for the ceremony tonight," Duma said. "Your father will expect you at the front." Ero shrugged. "Let him expect. You know he'd rather I inherit his sword than his heart." They sat in the shadows, speaking of kings and duties, of the weight of names. Ero, heir to a warrior legacy. Duma, a ward of the royal court whose gift for art and spirit earned him favor, but not freedom. Their worlds were drawn with different ink, yet they found a hidden page to share, written in touches and soft confessions. That night, the festival of ancestors bathed Uzenga in firelight. Drummers lined the square. Women in gold and crimson danced in circles, their braids swaying like pendulums. Elders poured libations, calling upon the long dead to bless the living. Duma sat beside the Queen Mother, robed in blue silk, head lowered in reverence. But when his eyes rose, they found Ero across the square, standing proud in leopard skin, spear in hand. Their gaze held for only a second, but someone noticed, and the whispering grass began to speak. Chapter 2. The Smell of Ash. The morning after the festival of ancestors dawned with a strange quiet. Smoke curled lazily from dying torches, and the sound of sweeping brooms echoed through the emptying square. Duma awoke before the others, in the apprentice quarters, heart restless. He stepped outside barefoot, feeling the earth's cool breath through his soles. The baobab tree at the edge of the compound waited for him, its bark like aged skin, its roots like sleeping giants. As he neared it, he found a feather resting on the ground, striped black and white, from the wings of a hornbill. A sign. In Uzenge lore, the hornbill was the messenger between lovers separated by duty. He smiled until he saw the second sign, ash, still warm, near the base of the tree. Someone had burnt something here, recently. He'd knelt. The shape was partial but unmistakable, a woven bracelet, one he had given Ero beneath this very tree. Burned, defiled. Someone knew. Chapter 3. Sons of Fire. Elsewhere in the palace, Ero stood before his father, Chief Baye, in the stone hall of warriors. The room smelled of sweat, animal hides, and smoke. Spears lined the walls. Shields bore scars from battles long past. "You bring shame into my blood," Baye spat, pacing before his son. "I hear whispers, you and the boy, under trees. In shadows, Ero stood firm, jaw clenched. "Do they lie?" Baye stopped. "You do not deny it?" "There is nothing to deny." The chief's face hardened, as if turned to granite. "Do you think our ancestors bled in the grasslands for you to dishonor their memory with softness? You are to lead warriors, not prance with dancers." "Duma is more than a dancer," Ero snapped. "He sees the world clearer than most men who wear bone on their necks and call it wisdom." A slap rang through the chamber. The elder warrior turned away, not out of regret, but disgust. You will court the daughter of Chief Mokain, Baye ordered. She is strong, fertile, and tied to a powerful house. By season's end, you will be promised. Ero did not answer. He left without asking permission, his breath heavy with fury. Chapter 4. The Queen's Secret. That night, Queen Mother Ngoye called Duma privately into her moonlit chambers. Her braided crown sat on a carved stool, her head bare, her spirit calm. I know what they say, she began, about you and Chief Baye's son. Duma said nothing. I watched my sister burn, Ngoye continued. Not with flame, but with silence. She loved a woman once. When she was caught, they said she had been cursed. They buried her alive in the dry hills to cleanse the land. I was only 16. I could not stop them. Duma looked up, tears threatening. I vowed then, the queen whispered, that I would never let another child of this land suffer for the shape of their heart. She reached for his hand and placed something in it, a carved bead, marked with the sigil of the Ishalu, a secret spiritual order that protected the sacred and outcast alike. They called us fire starters, she said, smiling faintly. But sometimes the land must burn to be reborn. Chapter 5. The Rising Wind, word of Chief Baye's command spread. The elders praised his decision. A union between his son and Mokan's daughter would secure the southern borders. Offerings were prepared. Songs were composed. The marriage was to be announced at the next full moon. Duma's heart shattered like calabash dropped on stone. Ero sent no word. The Baobab stood empty. Until the night before the announcement, Duma snuck away, moonlight guiding his path. There, beneath the great tree, Ero waited, torn, desperate. I cannot do this, he said, voice raw. But if I refuse, I lose everything. Then lose it, Duma said, stepping closer, and build something new with me. I'm afraid. So am I. Their hands found each other's, and the Baobab watched as two flames kissed in the dark. Unseen by them, a figure stepped away from the shadows. Chief Baye, his eyes colder than iron. Chapter 6. Blood and Oaths. The next morning, drums thundered across the kingdom, not for celebration but for judgment. A royal assembly was called beneath the Zanari canopy, the sacred court where kings were crowned and laws were cast. The entire royal family, the council of elders, warriors, priestesses, and nobles gathered. Whispers filled the air like bees in a disturbed hive. Queen Mother Ngoye stood regal in red and gold, but her eyes betrayed concern. Duma stood at her side, face blank, fingers clutching the bead she had given him. Then came Chief Baye, with Ero, bound in iron shackles. A gasp rippled through the crowd. I bring before this court a crime, Baye declared. A betrayal not just of law, but of spirit. My son, blood of warriors, has defiled the rights of manhood and spit upon the honor of his ancestors. Ero kept his eyes on the ground. He said nothing. Queen Ngoye stepped forward, her voice cutting clean through the crowd. There is no law in Uzenge that condemns a man for love. There is tradition, Baye barked, and tradition is law. No, Ngoye said coldly, tradition is memory. Law is what we choose to uphold. Gasps again. The tension was a bowstring pulled taut. Baye turned to the people. I ask for justice. I ask for exile, for both of them. Let them love in the wilderness, if they must, but not in Uzenge's sacred walls. Duma stepped forward, trembling but unafraid. If exile is the price of truth, then so be it. Ero looked up then, proud despite the chains. Then I walk with him. The people murmured, some shouted, some nodded. A line had been drawn. Queen Ngoye raised her hand. Silence. Let the spirits decide, she said. We consult the Oruka, the sacred stones of fate. If they fall toward fire, they shall be exiled. If they fall toward water, they stay under my protection. A priestess brought the ancient bowl etched with runes. Stones black as obsidian and smooth as river rock clinked softly inside. Duma and Ero stepped forward. The stones were cast. One fell toward water, the other toward fire. The priestess stared, confused. Never had the stones fallen in opposition. They are divided, she whispered. Queen Ngoye's eyes burned with resolve. Then I must choose, she said, stepping forward. And I choose them. Chapter 7. The Queen's War. The court erupted. Half the council rose in outrage. Baye unsheathed his blade. The warriors flanking the royal seat tensed, but Ngoye raised a staff carved from the wood of the first baobab. It glowed faintly in the air. Any man who raises steel in defiance of my rule, she thundered, shall feel the wrath of the gods who crowned me. Baye's blade hesitated. Around him, the crowd stilled. I declare a new right, the queen said. From this day forward, love shall not be punished in Uzenge, no matter the shape it takes. She turned to Duma and Ero. You will not be exiled. You will be sent beyond our walls, to the village of mists, where the Ishalu watch the borders between worlds. There you will train, learn, become more than lovers, become protectors. Ero nodded. Duma reached for his hand, and together they walked through the crowd, unshackled, not broken, becoming something new. Chapter 8. The Village of Mists. The road to the Village of Mists was long and winding, marked by ancestral stones and half-forgotten songs. Perched high in the Ulonga hills, the village sat in a perpetual cloud of fog. Time slowed there. The air smelled of sage, wet stone, and something older, something watching. The Ishalu, once whispered of in folktales, greeted them in silence. Their leader, Ezenwa, was tall and androgynous, cloaked in feathers and shadow. Neither man nor woman, they spoke like water over stone. We do not care who you love, Ezenwa said. We care what you carry. What do you mean? Duma asked. You both carry fire, fire that can warm or destroy. That is why the queen sent you to us. And so their training began. They learned the three disciplines: stillness of mind, clarity of spirit, balance of flame. They meditated under waterfalls, ran barefoot through sacred woods, and spoke with the spirits of forgotten kings. Duma began to dream, not just of Ero, but of great fires, crowned serpents, and a crown melting in blood. Ero saw a city in ruins, and his father's blade broken. Prophecy, Ezenwa whispered. The old world trembles. You two will stand at the heart of its ending, or its rebirth. Chapter 9. The Rebellion Below. Back in Uzenge, unrest grew like mold in shadow. Chief Baye, stripped of favor, did not sit idle. Secretly he gathered those who felt threatened by Ngoye's vision. Old warriors, conservative priests, land-hungry nobles. They formed the Sable Hand, a faction that whispered of overthrow, of bringing order back to Uzenge. They poisoned rivers of thought, saying Queen Ngoye had cursed the land, that the rains hesitated because she favored unnatural love, that the baobab groaned because of it. Spies were planted. One made their way to the Village of Mists, watching, waiting. Queen Ngoye, sensing danger, sent a runner to warn Ezenwa. But the message came too late. One night, under a blood moon, the village was attacked. Masked warriors, eyes painted red, swept through the mist like ghosts. Fires lit the fog with hellish glow. Ezenwa stood at the gates, staff glowing like a star, resisting them. Duma and Ero awoke to chaos. Protect the shrine, Ezenwa ordered them, as flames licked the trees. It is the soul of the Ishalu. They ran side by side, blades drawn, and for the first time, Duma fought, not to survive, but to protect something greater than himself. Chapter 10. Fire Beneath the Crown. The shrine was an ancient dome shaped like an open palm, carved into the side of the mountain. It held the oath flame, a fire said to burn with every vow ever made in Uzenge. As they reached it, the masked leader of the Sable Hand stepped from the shadows. It was Baye. You still chase ghosts, Ero said, raising his spear. No, Baye replied, face half burned from earlier battles. I chase the memory of a kingdom that once feared the gods. You fear change, Duma said, because it threatens the throne you built in your mind. You're wrong, Boy, I fear the fire in you. He lunged. The fight was brutal. Arrow clashed blade to blade with his father, muscle against muscle, soul against soul. Duma stood beside the oath flame, chanting the Ishalu prayer, calling on the ancestors. Baye knocked Arrow to the ground. You were born to lead armies, not fall for dances. But Arrow, bruised and bloodied, grinned through blood. I was born to love, and that love made me strong. At that moment, Duma finished the incantation. The oath flame surged skyward, engulfing the shrine in light. Baye stumbled back, blinded. Arrow rose, took the opportunity and struck, not to kill, but to disarm. Baye fell, unmoving, defeated. The fire calmed. Ezenwa limped into view, supported by surviving Ishalu. It is done, they whispered. The fire did not consume you, it chose you.